Megan is somewhat unstable. She had died in a relationship that fell apart as a result of her inability to care for her child. Haunted by her painful past, she is responsible for the accidental death of her baby. She is unable to confide in anyone, condemning herself to a string of superficial relationships that distract her from an overwhelming sense of guilt. And then we have Anna. Anna is the most secure in herself, and she is beautiful, married, and has a child. She believes herself to be far above Rachel, whom she views as a loser. However, she has no moral compass or empathy for those around her, but is instead ruled by self-interest. She turns against her husband not because he's a murderer, but because she realizes that she cannot trust him, revealing herself to be the vixen. In Paula Hawkins' The Girl on the Train, women are defined by rather traditional roles: the sexy lover, the loyal and submissive wife, and the devoted mother. Rachel, Megan, and Anna define themselves not as independent women, but in relation to a husband or lover, or as part of a family unit. In fact, although three women are professionals, they either gave up working once they got married or long to do so. The novel is full of lies. The characters don't tell the truth, not to each other and not to the reader, using the different perspectives to expose that what we see on the outside does not at all coincide with what happens inside. The novel illustrates that you never know the people you think you know, and that perhaps those you trust the most are those who will betray you the worst. From its very first trailer, it was clear that the Girl on the Train movie would be doing something slightly different from Paula Hawkins' best-selling novel. The location. Instead of taking place in the drab suburbs of London, the film takes place in the slightly glossier suburbs of New York City, a decision that was made for thematic as well as financial reasons. The detective Riley is now the main investigator in the novel. Megan's disappearance is investigated by a pair of detectives, Gaskill and Riley, but Wilson's script essentially pulls them into one complicated character. Scott and Rachel's relationship. In the book, Rachel and Scott develop an emotional bond over the course of the novel. Rachel tells Scott about her alcoholism and tells him that Tom is her ex-husband. In the movie, they are way more far from each other. In the end, we have Tom and Rachel's relationship. In the book, Tom seems like he might be an understanding, and the two ex-spouses interact a lot over the course of the book. But in the movie, Tom and Rachel have a few run-ins, but he's pretty secondary and he never seems particularly empathetic or sympathetic to her. Alcohol is portrayed as a major evil in The Girl on the Train, mainly through its abilities to hinder decision-making and memory. Alcoholism becomes a vehicle to illustrate a general truth. People's memories are notoriously unreliable. Most people will at some point be faced with a situation which they remember events differently than someone else, which is often cause for disagreements about who is telling the truth. Yet, when two people remember things differently, this does not mean that one person is telling the truth and the other is lying. Memory is subjective, influenced by an individual's emotional and psychological circumstances. An individual's sense of self is intricately connected to memory. The things people experience during the course of their lives makes them who they are. Unable to remember her behaviors, Rachel is unstable so much that she distrusts herself, making her suspect she may have had a role in Megan's disappearance. I have chosen this novel because it's brutally realistic. According to me, the book has its strengths. It's smoothly written. It worked for me as a suspense novel as the story went on. I did become quite invested in the resolution of the mystery. I wanted to know what happened to Megan and why. I also wanted to see if Rachel would ever grow a backbone and get herself together. Since it is narrated by three women, the novel is a feminist story about women's universe which has always been extremely romantic. We want to love and be loved, but when love becomes sick, it destroys us to the point that we have two choices, the renaissance or the end of us.